Ice breaking, it's something I particularly enjoy doing. In the winter months, I love to get out when the lakes are frozen over or canals and fish through the ice. For me, there's a few key points when you're breaking ice. The first is safety. You must be safe on the bank. You want Wellingtons with good grip, and also you want to be wearing the right clothing. When I say the right clothing, not too much to start with, because it's not very often in a year there are sweat, but when you're ice breaking, usually you get very warm. Another key point is this: do not take any equipment on the bank apart from your icebreaker. I've seen lots of poles, rods, keep net bags thrown in, all sorts of accidents when you've got your equipment on the bank. So leave it in your vehicle until you've broke your peg out. I've seen lots of anglers break out a big area. For me, this is wrong. Fish find cover under the ice. So you want a narrow channel. Even the channel that I've broke today, I feel is a little bit wider than what you should really have. You want a narrow channel because the fish come in and they're safe underneath the ice. The positioning of the channel is also quite important. Today, opposite where I'm fishing, were trees on the bank and broken. You could see it on the ice where you knew if you broke a channel out where the trees were, you wouldn't be able to see your float. So I've slightly adjusted the channel just slightly off to the right where the water, or on top of the ice, was white water. So I'll be able to see the float very well at distance. I have a varied range of icebreakers, different weights. The biggest one, I'm not exactly sure what it weighs, but it's what I can chuck to round about 14.5 metre limit, the biggest one. There's no point in having an icebreaker that's that heavy that you can only chuck it to 5 metres. You need to be able to chuck it to a distance, because often when it's cold and the water's iced over, the fish are still out on a long pole length. The weight is what breaks through the ice, but having a chain behind that allows you to cut the ice. If it's particularly thick, then it's very, very difficult. You have to break from the inside out. But if it's not too thick, the ice, today we've got approaching an inch, but once the icebreaker goes through, you can chain back and cut a channel through the ice. You're using the chain almost as a sawing action. You're pulling the weight up to the underside of the ice and letting it drop back. And continually doing that, the chain cuts through the ice. Today it's been hard work because it has been quite thick. I mean, it's -5 this morning. One thing you do not want to do is smash the ice into a million pieces. All it does is take you forever to clean out the channel. What I've tried to do today is break out to about 7 metres a channel, break it across the back edge and shove the ice under. Once you do this, you've got very, very little time to have to remove the pieces of ice from the channel. Using a strong landing net handle for this is the way. I use a 5 metre Acolyte landing net handle, which is very strong to shove the ice under, but you still have to be careful. There's a lot of weight in that ice when you're shoving it through water. Once I've cleared out to about 7 metres, shove the ice under, I can then break further out in the swim. And again, the next piece of ice, if you get it right and chain out the area, break across the top, you can pull the full sheet of ice back towards you. And again, with the landing net handle, shove it under the ice out of the way. Because you've dragged the ice back, often all the small pieces of ice follow it in. So then you can remove them with a landing net to clear out the channel. You don't want any small pieces of ice floating about, because if you do upfish, you can get snagged on them small pieces of ice. If there's any ice left, what I often do is just put a 250ml pot on the end of my cupping kit and just drag those small pieces of ice back, and again net them out of the way. And that's your channel ready to fish. My advice to you is to not rush this process. When you're pleasure fishing, you've got plenty of time to break out a peg, so take your time. But also it's the same in match conditions. Often if there's ice on the water, the people who are running the match give you extra time. Utilise that time, take your time to get that channel spot on, and that's your job done.